Hey Money Vikings, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking out the channel. Happy summer to everybody. It's starting to get pretty hot out there. I got the AC on in the car here. You can see the sun's coming in. Starting to get pretty hot here in the Southwest and probably across the country. So gearing up for a summer here, see how that goes, and hopefully everyone's got some plans and some fun stuff going on this summer. Some healthy, safe, fun things. Safety's good. Always consider staying safe while you have a good time. But I want to do a quick video on where I'm coming around on investing as I, approach, I don't know, I'd say a good solid, let's just say a good solid 23, 24, 25 years of investing, right? Seriously, maybe 20, 21, something like that. Anyway, but let's say a couple decades of investing experience now. And in that time, you guys know that Money Vikings are a bit of a guinea pig at times, right? Where we're trying different things in order to see what works and what doesn't, and sharing that with you. So, the big thing that I'm coming around to lately, and I'm kind of reaffirming this summer, and I've had other videos about this and other articles on truewealth.moneyvikings.com and on the channel. But the big one is, most of us are not good at picking individual stocks. And I think for honestly 95% of investors and people building wealth, we should not be picking individual stocks. And this is a guy that's picked a lot of stocks. So I have done this. I have gone down this road. I've made money at it. But also there's been some things that have been near misses. I've always known, I think I've always had kind of a sixth sense from early experiences that picking stocks is really hard. So overall, better to be invested in the entire market through a SPY, better to be diversified with various ETFs that are baskets of different stocks that are being professionally managed. And I really do think that is the way to go in the long run. Again, this is not financial advice, so that's not what this channel is about. I'm just sharing what we do and what works and what doesn't work. So just sharing personal experience, not advice for anybody. So at the end of the day, the big message here is not to pick individual stocks. I'll tell you why I'm talking about it now. So one reason I'm talking about it now is NVIDIA. So NVIDIA on a tear, doing wonderfully. I happen to be an early investor in NVIDIA, right? So did quite well. But I'm maybe wise enough, probably not, I don't want to say I'm wise, but maybe wise enough to know that some of it was luck. A lot of it was timing. Did I believe in NVIDIA? Yeah, sure. Were there processors and all that kind of stuff the future? Yeah, you could read about that. You could kind of figure that all out. But it didn't, it did have sort of a bit of a ride. But in general, always gone up, and then gone up really well recently. And then there's been the 10-for-1 stock split as well. But the main thing is that I think a lot of people, they see the news media talk about NVIDIA, and it's this instant like, okay, what's the next NVIDIA? And none of us really know, not even Warren Buffett knows. So I just, over time, am really, really trying to reduce exposure to individual equities and really be in much more diversified baskets across the board. So how do I do it? So I have accounts that are what I consider long-term, buy and hold, dividend reinvestment type things, with mainly ETFs and funds. And then typically I'll diversify in there where, I might do some bond funds, different types of bond funds, might do some different type, definitely some SPY, some VOO, Vanguard VOO. You get the whole S&P 500, the largest, most powerful companies, which is probably going to do fine over the long run. Because again, that's self-cleansing. We talk about that. It's self-cleansing. It reduces exposure over time to the weaker companies and increases exposure to those. Now, could it go down? Sure, absolutely. And it has gone down before. But typically, if you're riding it out over the long run, and I always want to emphasize this, when you're building a portfolio or you have a certain investment, you're really building a future passive income machine. You should not be in a position, let's say you get to the point where you acquire a $750,000 portfolio. You really should never be in a position where it's just it's completely liquidated. You know, there's one day where it's like, that's it, my investing is over, I'm taking $750,000 out and done. Now, a person could do that, but I think over the long run, it depends on what your age is. It depends on what kind of income you're trying to produce from that nest egg. And it depends on how long your time horizon is. If you have a long time horizon, if you retire in your 50s or 60s, you could have, you know, for the average person, you could have 20 plus years, 30 years of having to live off that income. So you do need some growth in there. You do need some dividends. You can't just have that cash, you know, being eaten away by inflation and then you're just drawing down on it. It's going to erode pretty quickly. It's funny how how hard it can be to save and invest and accumulate money and how fast it can go, as we all know. But anyway, there's that, right? There's that whole piece. So I do a small percentage of, you know, I call, and sometimes Jerry doesn't like when I say this, but that's okay. I call individual stock investments in a small portfolio the fun money, right? And that's where I am going to go for trying to find the next NVIDIA, or maybe there's just something that intrigues me that I want to explore more and I want to have a little bit of an exposure to because I think it's going to go up or whatever it might be. So I do some of that, and what I've noticed is that it lets the urge to react. I can act out on it with this small portfolio that's kind of, in the long run, in a way, honestly, inconsequential because it's maybe 1 to 5% of assets. Whereas if I lose it all, it's like, is it really going to make a huge difference in my life? I mean, probably not. But if I do make some money at it, it could be an extra vacation someday. It could be buying some toy that I want, or comic or collectible. It could be buying something that my family just wants that's an extra thing. So there is that. And that's where I kind of do the crypto stuff. That's where I'll maybe mess around with Bitcoin or something like that. But that's how I do it. So I just want to reiterate that a lot of times I know the siren call of investing in individual stocks, and it's very tempting. But the fact of the matter is that it's usually not a good idea. We really, really should be careful about that, including myself, including almost all of us. Even Warren Buffett, one of the best. I mean, he didn't always get them right. He gets a lot right, but that is from deep analysis and research into each company. The reality is, most of us don't want to spend our time doing that. Number one, I don't think most of us want to spend most of our life researching stocks. And I don't even know if we wanted to, if we had all the requisite skills. Now, if that's someone's passion and they can develop all those skills and they're willing to put all the hours and the research and all that into it, more power to you. Go for it. That's what you enjoy in life. But I think most of us want to kind of do other things. I think we want to live our life, spend more time with our kids, our spouse, our relatives, friends, maybe pursue a couple of hobbies that are just interesting and have intrinsic value. You know, I think that's how a lot of us want to spend our life, beyond our working hours, because usually there's not a lot of hours sometimes left after you've, clocked in a 40 plus, 50 plus hour, hour week. So just my 2 cents. Please, put your comments in there. Am I wrong? Are you just like, hey, forget it, I'm all about individual stocks, I can pick them? Maybe you had great success with that? Share that. Or maybe you see it the same way. Maybe the times where you went for individual stocks, you really didn't see much happen. It didn't gain. Maybe you lost money. Maybe you just didn't pick well because it's hard. And none of us really knows. But maybe you had a 401k where you just sort of set it and forget it. You had it put into a S&P 500, you had maybe a bond fund, an overseas fund, whatever it might be, and maybe you let that ride over the last 10, 20 years, and maybe you saw that really, you know, double or maybe even triple in some cases. Please let me know. So anyway, thanks for watching. Happy summer, more videos coming, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks everybody, bye.